Welcome back 40k fans to Battleforged Brothers at this 40k battle report of 2000 points of Tau Empire versus High Fleet Gorgoroth. So as you can see, we are playing on this bombarded Imperial sector of the planet. Manufactoriums, a couple of citadels, Aegis defense lines. There's evidence of previous battle. There's no evidence of the corpses. Now this could be due to High Fleet Gorgoroth consuming them, but we do have the opposing force, which is the Tau Empire. They are expanding and they're wanting to take this planet. So as you can see, moving across the board, looking at the deployment zones, we are playing Vanguard Strike and we are playing Big Guns Never Tire. So just looking downwards, you have the white dice line, which is the High Fleet Gorgoroth deployment. We have rolled and I have chose this side, and the green dice over there just representing the Tau Empire's deployment. Couple of fires in the distance as well, where you can previously see there has been conflict here. Space Marine statue, of course, standing ever vigilant. However, so the objectives, you have objective 1 here. All the objectives are worth 3 points. We've got objective 1, you have objective 4. We've placed objective 2 right on the edge of the Tyranids deployment. And just coming around here to the Shrine of the Aquila, just near this fire, we do have objective 3. The fires don't actually, we just placed them mainly because to represent that there has been conflict here. We're not using any particular rules for them at this stage, just while we get used to some of the rules. So especially since those of you who've watched the first battle report that we've done, a couple of mistakes were made. So thanks very much, guys, for pointing these things out. Obviously, there is time that we have read rules and we're maybe forgetting, so we do appreciate everybody who's, you know, just pointed us in the right direction. So thanks very much for that, guys. So the Tau have won the roll-off. They have chose to deploy first and go first, unless the Tyranids can seize. So we will come back after Tau deployment and, of course, the army lists. Alright guys, so this is the Tau Empire 2000 points force that will be taking on my Tyranids. So moving this way, we have a Riptide armed with the Iron Accelerator, dual fusion, and advanced targeting system with him as well. He also has a shield drone, just to keep him a little bit safe. We have the Crisis team here. There's no leader in this squad, but they are all equipped as you see, so they all have fusion and burst. We have some marker drones over here. Just moving back, we have the Warlord, which is Long Strike. Who is, well, as you see, that big cannon. We have a Forge World Barracuda. Be watching out for this, with it being able to take on my flies as well. We have Fire Team 1, 2, and 3, just anchoring this ruin here, alongside the Ethereal, who will be boosting their leadership, as well as being able to use his Invocation of the Elements. We also have a Sky Ray anchoring the right-hand side as well. Now, Graham's got some infiltrators, which has already been set up. So we have an infiltration team here, stealth suits, 3 burst, 1 fusion with the leader, and just over near the Space Marine statue, exactly the same over that way as well. So as the guns heat up, the Tau have bought some big guns as well, so quite apt that we are playing Big Guns Never Tire. We will go and see what High Fleet Gorgoroth have created in their gene pools to come up against this force. Right, okay, so this is High Fleet Gorgoroth, which came down to the planet to take on the Tau. So moving across, we have 10 Termagants. We have the Tervagon, who has the massive crushing claws. Power that she has is Onslaught. We have the second in command here, Hive Tyrant, with the dual Devourers with Brain Worms and Wings, and also the Pincer Tail. Powers that he, well, the other guy as well, the other Flying Hive Tyrant, they both got Onslaught and the Horror. We have Exocrine. We have 3 Zoanthropes and a Neurothrope, and they have decided to take Catalyst. Just hiding down this alleyway of doom here is the Hive Guard with Impaler Cannons. We have the second Hive Tyrant, who is the Warlord, and he has exactly the same configuration as the previous. We may end up looking to change some of the weapons on these, but we're going to stick with what we know for the time being. See how it performs. Over here, we have another squad of 10 Termagants, all with flesh borers as well. We've got a Carnifex here with massive crushing claws and two Devourers. Exact same one over there. They do have the Thresher Tail and the Toxin Sacs. We have the Hive Crone here. No further upgrades on that. We've got 3 Tyranid Warriors who have Death Spitters and Toxin Sacs. Took them off actually. They were previously on, but I took them off to add another Zoanthrope to these. So Toxin Sacs wise, these have the Warlord has Toxin Sacs. This has Toxin Sacs over here. The Tervagon has Toxin Sacs, and also in reserve, just coming over to this way because I'm the only army that has reserves. We have Trigon Prime who has Toxin Sacs, and no further upgrades given to him. He's coming through his haul, and he's also bringing another 10-man squad of Termagants. None of the Termagants have Toxin Sacs. They are just standard with their Flesh Borers. So as we look over the battlefield, both armies are ready to hit it off against each other here. But at the moment, the Tau have turn 1. And of course, the Tyranids do want to seize. Very quickly before we do attempt to do so, however, just for the detachments, I'm using 2. I'm using the Spearhead and also the Battalion. So that gives us 4 command points to be able to use for stratagems. Graham is using the Vanguard one, which gives him 1. So a couple of little bonuses that we've managed to get there. Whether they're handy or not will be a different story. But we are going to attempt to seize on a roll of a 6. On a 6, we do seize. So we'll come back after Tyranids, turn 1. Right, so as the hive mind has screeched and the ever-adapting organism that is the Tyranids have seized the initiative, everything has surged forward pretty much. So these Termagants have moved 6 and then the advance, we only got a 1, so they moved 7. The second in command has come surging straight up, looking to hopefully get some nice psychic abilities off here, as well as shooting. The Tervagon has just moved up in support. The Exocrine has stayed stationary, just to hopefully be able to get that double shot off. The Zoanthropes have just surged forward, just floating along there. Back here, these guys have stayed still, just to see if they can get some shots helping out against there. We're just going to keep everything, a few of the, well, more artillery-based organisms, just keep them back. These guys have just moved right the way up. They got 10. They've just surged forward. The 2 Carnifexes have just come bounding through the smoke. So you can only imagine the horror on these guys. Through this smoke comes a terrifying Carnifex just lumbering towards. Probably going to try and get into assault over here as well, if they don't die by shooting. The Warriors just moving up in support, a bit of Synapse ability as well. The Hive Crones come 25 inches, so just 20 up and then 5 just moving along that way. Exocrine, as was mentioned, has stayed stationary. So we are going to move into the psychic phase. Hopefully we can whittle down some of these units across, maybe able to target weaker units, and hopefully get first blood over here. We need to try and whittle down as much firepower as possible. Might end up targeting these, or we might go for these with the Exocrine as well. So, but we will come back after the psychic. We'll do psychic and shooting, just with psychic now being a relatively quick phase now. We'll do it all together. So we'll come back after Tyranids, psychic and shooting phase. Right, so we are back after Tyranids turn 1, psychic and shooting. So a combination of smite and shooting from this guy here whittled this unit down to 1. We also cast the Horror onto the Barracuda, so his to hit and leadership characteristics are reduced. And also Smite came on from this dude, as well as shooting coming from the Exocrine, has whittled the Crisis team down to 1 wound, 1 team member on 1 wound. As we've seen, these are obviously advancing over there. Over here, however, we did gain First Blood. That came from a combination of Firepower and Psychic from the Carnifex Brood, the Warlord, and the Zoanthropes. And apart from that, just over here, shooting coming from the Hive Guard right across there over to the Skyray. We took 4 wounds off it, which we were quite impressed with. So at the end of that phase, obviously we're gonna try and do a charge here. So we're gonna set a charge off from the second in command into the lonely guy there. So we reckon we need about an 8. So we'll hopefully get a nice 8. So we reckon we may just get in here. So just see if we can measure that up. Okay, so on an 8, we only need to be within an inch now, with it being... No, that will not get us in. But Graham does still get Overwatch against me. So we'll resolve Overwatch, but we'll come back as the Tau heat their guns ready to slay some of these big monstrous creatures. So we'll come back after the movement phase for Tau, turn 1. Right, okay, so just covering over the Tau movement turn 1. Just to reiterate as well, this dude, he did fail his morale, and he has tactfully withdrawn, as we like to say. These guys have just moved forward. Graham naturally putting the guy who lost the wounds at the front. Martyr drones just zipping up. Shield drone alongside the Riptide just coming around the corner here. These are pretty much stayed stationary, including the Skyray as well. The Barracuda is just pivoted slightly because he can move up to 90 and just zipped along here, looking as though he's probably going to try and get some shots down. Probably the Zoanthropes, or maybe it's the Exocrine. Just to remind as well, that 1 is not how many wounds he's on. It's just to remind ourselves that he has a -1 leadership and 1 for his hit characteristics as well, because of the Horror power. So as we move on, obviously Tau, no cyclists for them. They don't double in the warp. So we will come back after the Tau shooting phase. Right, so we are back after Tau shooting phase. Not too bad from the Tyranid perspective. So as you can see, the second in command is gone. That came from combined firepower, marker lights, boosting the rerolls, rerolling hits of 1s. That came from these, and the Riptide. Riptide fired into the Hivetide as well as the Tervagon and took him down to 10 wounds. He's still fine. Long strike, rolling, hitting on 2s, rolled a 1. So that's killed the second in command over here. Over here, we lost 1 Zoanthrope. That came from combined fire, primarily from the Barracuda. And also firepower coming down from the Fire Warrior teams. And apart from that, the Skyray, it shot 3 of its missiles as well as its support. Its what are they called again? The other missiles there. The smart missile system. That's the one. Firing in at fired the smart missiles down at these. Didn't do any damage, and fired 3 Seeker missiles and took 1 wound off the Carnifex over here. Apart from that, nothing else. No charges. Nothing like that. So we will just move on to High Fleet Gorgoroth turn 2, and we can see what extra damage that we can pull off this turn. We do still have the Tervagon, the Tervagon, he's already there, the Trigon Prime to come on. We haven't forgotten about him, but we'll see whether now would be a good time to pull him up at the end of our movement phase, or whether we'll leave him. We do need new morale for these guys as well. However, we are just within 8 inches over there, so we haven't forgotten about them, so they're fine, because they automatically pass. So apart from that, we'll come back after Tyranids turn 2 movement phase. Right, so we are back after Tyranids turn 2 movement. These guys have just scuttled into that just to hold this objective. They are fine for morale. They are just within 8 inches by a fraction. Not within enough to replace any lost models, however. The Tervagon, as you can see, is just come scooting ahead, just hopefully get some powers off. Over here, however, at the end, the Trigon Prime has emerged from his tunnel and brought alongside another squad of Termagants. And hopefully we can try and get into long strike if we can. Hopefully we'll do a bit of damage there. So let's see what we can do. Moving across, the Exocrine is still absolutely fine over here. We are keeping Synapse range for that as well. Over there, we've got the Flying Hive Tyrant, the commander. He's come as close as possible. He's going to try and get some psychic shenanigans and a possible charge into there. Zoanthropes just over here. We also have the Hive Guard as well. I'm actually double checking the range. He'll have to take an instinctive behaviour test because he is actually out of range. But we'll do that in a second. These Termagants are just shifted across. The two Carnifexes, the wounded one and the not wounded one, heading towards there. And of course the Hive Crone is looking to do some damage over that side as well. Warriors just moving up in support just to cover Synapse over here. So before we move on to the Psychic phase, we'll resolve instinctive behaviour for this guy over here with him being outside of the synaptic range. Apart from that, we'll come back after Psychic and Shooting phase, turn 2 for Highfleet Gorgoth. Right, okay, so we are back just after Psychic and Shooting phase. So just Psychic phase, a couple of mortal wounds dished out over here from the Tervagon. And over here, a couple of wounds coming in from these guys, firing into this. Shooting wise, obviously the Devourers shooting in total we've reduced this down to 4 wounds, so it is limping along, but it's still doing fine. Over there, we've fired the Tentaclids into the Skyway, took 1 wound down, and we took 2 of the number of the Fire Warriors down as well. So wasn't great for shooting, just putting a lot of shots in. However, we do have a couple of assaults to set off. So the Trigon Prime as well, he will be making a charge into long strike. So we will do that one first. So we've already pre-measured for that. We need an 8-inch charge to get into there. On a 3 and a 3 and a 6, that is a failed charge there. The Tervagon is going to charge into the Crisis team. So we reckon a 5 will do it. Okay, on a 5 and a 5 and a 10, yep, that is fine. They'll be in. We'll resolve Overwatch in a second. The Hive Tyrant will be assaulting into the Flyer. So, yep, on a 7, he's in. And finally, over there, the Hive Crone will be making a charge into the Sky Ray. So we reckon we need about a 3-inch charge for that. On a 6 and a 7, they're in. So we'll get Overwatch resolved and combats resolved as well. Right, so just back after assaults, over here, the Tervagon killed outright one of the Crisis teams with his Crushing Claws. No damage dealt back. No damage on Overwatch over there either. Longstrike did get a hit, but failed to wound against the Trigon Prime over there. Failed to get in. Over here, same. We took 2 wounds. Sorry, 3 wounds from the Overwatch firepower there. And as you can see, this is definitely limiting around. It's got 1 hull point, 1 wound left. Over here, not too bad. Just reduced it down by 1. So at the end of that phase, nothing really to sing home about. But the Tau will be going into their next turn. So we'll be back after the Tau movement phase. Right, okay, so Tau turn 2, movement. So the Riptide has come shooting up here just in support of a long strike. Probably looking to pump some shots into the Trigon Prime or potentially the Termagants. Over here, these are still in combat. The Barracuda has zipped up 25 inches, which is his maximum, and looking to get out of dodge. So he has fell back. The Skyray has also fell back as well. Apart from that, there's hardly anything else that's moved. Graham has enacted a Storm of Fire as well, so that'll be re-rolling hits of 1s. So apart from that, we'll go straight through to the shooting phase and see, hopefully, if the Trigon Prime is still there. So we'll be back after Tau shooting. Right, okay, so we are back after the shooting phase for Tau. So, surprisingly enough, the Trigon Prime is still kicking around. That took firepower in from the Riptide, and also Long Strike, and also this squad as well, rapid firing in, left him on 6 wounds. So he is wounded, but he is still kicking around. Over this side, just firepower coming in from the warriors, the fire warriors, shooting in at the Hive Crone, bringing him down to 7 wounds. And with these guys falling back, nothing they could do as well. So we do just have one combat to resolve, which is of course this one here. But apart from that, we will come back after movement for Tyranids on their turn 3. Right, okay, so just movement, Tyranids turn 3. So these guys are still fine where they are. Instinctive behaviour tests don't need to cover that, because they can't shoot or charge anything. There's nothing visible to them. This guy's still in combat there. We're going to leave him there. These are going to just see if they can get some shots into the drone, with it being classed as a separate unit. The Trygon Prime has came out of the hole, and he's going after Long Strike. And of course, just behind him, they are doing a pincer manoeuvre. The Hive Crones came swooping over here, and he's looking to get some shots off before he charges in. Moving across, the Hive Tyrant, the Warlord, has come just down here, just to give this guy synapse, so that he can choose his target. And these have just all shifted along. The Zoanthropes just keeping synapse around here, and the 2 Carnifexes are going after that. And them guys, they may take a couple of pot shots up to see if we can bring that flyer down. But apart from that, nothing great else to cover. We will just move on with Psychic Phase and Shooting. Right, so we are just back after the Psychic and Shooting Phase for Tyranids on turn 3. Quite an impressive round, actually. So we didn't do any damage over here. We tried to take some shots into the drone, no damage taken. We did take a couple of pot shots against Long Strike from these two. Whittled them down to 10, and over here we Psychic Phase, as far as we've found, apparently you can cast into combat. Still a bit dubious, but that's the way that we're reading it. So we took this unit down to 1 crisis battlesuit on 2 wounds, and over here a fantastic smite from these took down the Barracuda, who was only on 1 wound, however. Just in shooting, a couple of pot shots into the Skyray, took it down to 2. And over here, this guy did amazingly and wiped out the marker drones over there. So we are just going into the assault phase. A couple of assaults that we've got to set off. Obviously, there's the continuing one here. As far as we're reading it, obviously the drone is technically a separate unit, so we wouldn't be able to charge the Riptide, but we're still going to charge. Right, so we'll roll for that. We reckon we only need about a 2 to get in, so yeah, that'll get us in there. Just moving over there, these 2 quite big ones, so the Trygon Prime into Long Strike. Yep, he'll be in. And the Hive Crone, who's going to sandwich him in the back. Just roll for that down here. That is 2 and 2, 4. That'll definitely get him in. And last one is just these 2 Carnifexes. So do have to roll them individually because they are individual units, just at the Skyray. So the one that is on 7 wounds. Oh, yep, on a 10 he'll be in. And his mate on a 5, I think that should be in. We'll come back once Overwatch is resolved. We think it should be in within an inch. Yep. Is he within an inch? Yep, they're both in. So we'll come back once combat has been resolved, Overwatch of course, and we'll see if Graham wants to continue to turn 3 for Tau. Right, okay, so we are back after the end of Tyranids turn 3 assaults, and the Tau have also called it. So we'll show you exactly why. So at the end of the assaults over here, Long Strike is still kicking, so the Tau can call upon him in the future. He's down to 1 wound. We failed to get it. Just to mention for our command points, Graham hasn't actually used his, but just in that in the last couple of rounds, I'm forgetting to mention that I have used them. It was literally just for rerolls. 1 reroll for hitting, which was just over here to shoot against that, which obviously that's now gone. And we used a 1 for the Trygon Prime to hit, in the previous turn and also this turn. So it did leave us with 1, so we haven't forgotten about them. However, Tervagon killed the last Crisis team over here. No damage done over this side at all. The Hive Clone didn't do any damage. It was mainly this dude here, the Trigon Prime. I can see why people are raging on about Trigons and Trigon Primes. Just over this side, as expected, Carnifex has ripped apart that, exploding its missiles, laid on the floor. There's just devastation all over. So at the end of that turn, as stated at the beginning, we were playing Big Guns Never Tire. So the Tyranids are holding this one here, so that's 3 points there. We're holding this one down here, that's 3 points, let's put it on 6. We did get First Blood, that puts us on 7. And also for a heavy support over there, that puts us on 8. To the Towers, nothing. We did double check, and the Tower definitely not holding any objectives. Absolutely brutal. It's not the result I expected, but this is what 8th is all about. All the scores are reset. The board's wiped clean so far, so High Fleet Gorgoth, very impressed with the way that they performed. May get another Trigon and see if we can stick them in. There's a couple of units that didn't do as well, as fantastically as I wanted them to do. The Hive Tyrants did okay. Psyche Phase was quite brutal in some occasions, but as you can see, just devastation all over. So, will Tau make an appearance again? More than likely they will do. But just devastation all around. So thanks once again, guys, for watching this battle report. Quite a short one today. And tune in next time.